Hey everybody, welcome to the first night of Sawmill Survival School. What did I call this? Sawmill Survival School. Let me know if you can hear me and then I'll start the feed. Hope you all are doing well. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello Michael, hello Andrew. Wow, all the way from Australia, nice. Belfast, Maine, love Maine. Let me know if you can hear me. Sounds good. All right, let's try. We're gonna go. Hello, everybody. It's me. How's it going? So I am using a new streaming software tonight. Brian Harlan, Herring McPickles himself out there in the audience is probably rolling his eyes thinking, why would I try this live? But I'm going to try this live. It's a new streaming software. So far, so good. It works really well. I'm really happy with it. Make sure you can see me and hear me okay. Give me some feedback, and then pretty soon I'm just going to start ignoring you. Sylvia. Hello, Sylvia. Okay, sounds good. It might be you, Richard. Hopefully it's not me, but let me know if it is. Let me know if the audio is too loud, because I can fix that a little bit on my end. Yes, good. You can see me. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. How many out there is this their first boot camp? Let me know in the chat. The way I like to do the first session of boot camp is that you don't have to have the tab for it. I'm going to put it up on the screen because this is actually open to the public. There are 60 people out there in the audience right now. This is open to the public. This is not just a Patreon thing. So I didn't want to give out the tab. I thought it would be easier just to put it on the screen. So you do not need to be looking at a piece of paper tonight, but I will tell you the tab is available on Patreon for download. This is the hardest boot camp I've ever done. It gets really steep towards the end, so be patient, take it slow, and I'll walk you through it throughout the week. But you don't need it for tonight. Don't worry about it. We're going to go slow. We're going to go easy. I'm going to give you some insight into how the boot camps work, and then we're off and running throughout the week. Audios should... Okay. Not too loud. Good. My feed, according to my feed, the audio is in the sweet spot, so you may have to adjust things on your end. Hopefully this is okay. Lots of boot camp people. Tony Thomas's first boot camp. Yeah, nice. All right, look what I can do. I can highlight crazy things you guys say. Now don't get carried away. Okay, so the way boot camp sounds a bit echoey. Okay, well, my AC just kicked on. I don't know. Ryan, how do I sound? An audio engineer in the audience. He's going to steer me straight. So we are tuned to Sawmill. For those of you who don't know, that is G, D, G, C, D. All right, good, glad. Why did I shave? I don't know. It was hot. It got sticky out here, man. I couldn't do it. It's like wearing a sweater on your face. I just couldn't do it. My kids are not happy with me. They'd rather it be covered up. Okay, so I'm gonna hide. This is great because this helps us get our heads around what's going on here. My second boot camp took a month to capture all the new skills. So this isn't meant to be one and done. If the boot camp is going to work for you, you're going to have to continually run it. And I promise you, it will change your playing. It has personally transformed my playing. And so you gotta stay on it. You gotta keep running it. And I'm going to help you this week. Okay, so what I like to do with the boot camp, we're just going to start with our first line. And I'm gonna, look at this. I'm gonna have to scoot over a bit. I can make that a little smaller. Can everybody read that? That's what we're working with tonight. Good. need some headphones there, Michael. Ryan, just because you said so. All right, I'm going to get carried away with this on-screen comment thing. But isn't it great? It's amazing. Yeah, I know. The store is... I'm having trouble with... My store is broken. It's broken. So they're trying to fix it. This was supposed to go live last week for patrons. It's not there yet, but it was close to launching today. It will launch very soon. I promise. I promise. Very soon. Very soon. All right, here we go. So the way this works, you're going to look at that tab on your screen. Hopefully you all can see it. I'm not checking my cell phone, I promise. I'm getting my metronome going because that's how this thing works. All right. And we are going to start. You may want to put this on your, you may want to write this in pencil on the top of your, whatever, your notepad, whatever. We're going to start at 80 BPM. Tonight, we're just going to go slow. We're going to go through a bunch of different tempos. We're going to focus on that first line. There are 3 other lines, and they're going to get harder and harder through the week, but we're just going to bite off a small piece tonight with the first line. So I'm going to start. Grab your banjos. I'm done talking for a little bit. Thank you, Ryan. Yes, I didn't want to blow out anybody's speakers, so I had to balance it. Hopefully you can hear that. All right, now you'll see, before we start, for those of you who are new, you'll see at the top there are little words and letters. First measure is called home. The next 3 measures, A, B, and C. So I'm going to be calling those measures. Grab a banjo. If you don't have a banjo in your lap right now, you're doing it wrong. Don't do Sawmill Survival School wrong. All right, here we go. Nice and relaxed. Keep the hands soft. Look at that home measure. I want you to visualize what's going to happen. Hear the beat. And I want you to visualize what your hands are going to be doing here. Like to think that way before I just leap in. I'm going to count us in on home. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy. Keep the hand relatively soft. A lot of this is about getting the reps in. Balance the stroke. If you can't hear me, you're playing too loud. If you can't hear yourself, you're not playing loud enough. So balance it. That's part of the game here. Balance the sound. Go to A on my count. A, 2, 3, 4. Dig out that 4th string. Go slow. Don't speed up on me. Home, 2, 3, 4. Tune a little bit while I play. All right, I'm gonna lower my volume. Look ahead to B. For those of you who have done my boot camps in the past, I've switched it up on you. B and C are different than we've done, so don't just blaze forward. Look ahead to B. Plot your path. B is 1, 3, 2, 4. We're just gonna cycle B on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax. If you screw up, that's okay. Listen to me. After playing at that same tempo this tempo feels super slow to me. I don't know if you guys are having that effect. 80 BPM, nice and slow. Keep relaxed, stay relaxed. Now look ahead to C. Don't forget to breathe. C is the reverse of B for those keeping track. Plot your path, here we go. C, 2, 3, 4. Home, 2, 3, 4, home. Okay. We're playing this entire line, and we're going to repeat each measure once. 2 homes, 2 A's, 2 B's, and 2 C's. You ready? On my count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. Home. A. A. B. B. C. Back home and stay there. Get quiet. Get real quiet. Quieter. You're all way too loud. I can hear you through the internet. Quiet. Whisper quiet. Don't drop your tempo. Now I want you to raise the volume up slowly. Louder. Don't speed up as you raise your volume. Louder. Now we're getting loud. Louder. Really loud. Crush it. Gradually taper it off. Middle volume. Okay, we're doing this whole line again at 80 BPM. This time we're going to play it as written, so no repeats, just once through each measure on my count. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. A. B. C. Do it again. A. B. C. One more time. B. C. Now go home. Nice and easy. We're gonna count. We're gonna stop on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. Good. Shake it out. Relax. Relax. You should be relaxed through that whole thing. I'd love to hear how many of you are feeling relaxed, how many of you are feeling the tension creep in. Can you make it melt away? Can you let it go away? So one of the things that I think about, it's easy because it's easy to get sidetracked on this stuff. Like you start getting lost in the patterns or trying to figure out what's coming next, and suddenly, before you know it, the tension starts creeping in to your striking hand. And tension is the enemy. So as soon as that tension starts creeping in, you gotta flag it. You gotta say, nope, not right now. I'm too busy to get tense, and help it melt away. Take a breath if you need to. You've got to stay relaxed, or this sheet, the entire sheet this week, if you're going to be with me all week, is going to be difficult. Let me know how you did. And I'm going to pick a new tempo as we rest. All right. I like that a lot. Yeah, tension and pain in the back. You gotta be paying attention how you're sitting in your chair. If you're feeling the back tension, you gotta figure that out. You gotta get square to the floor. Think about how you're holding it. The way I think about the tension is when I'm not playing, the way to sort of cultivate this relaxed state is, this is one of my favorite things to do. I curl my fingers around like I'm going to play, and I just let my thumb hang out on that fifth string, and I let my thumb and gravity pull my hand and arm down to the floor, and I can feel the fifth string activate under the weight of that hand. I can feel it pull me down, nice and relaxed, and from there I extract from the fulcrum and I do it again. This is sort of my reset state, and this is what I have students do too, to sort of remind their bodies what a relaxed hand feels like when they're interacting with the instrument. Curl over, let the thumb interact with that fifth string, let the hand fall towards the floor, nice and relaxed, shoulders are square to the ground, very comfortable. Pull straight out from the fulcrum, activate from the fulcrum, get a nice clear stroke. And from there, I freeze. Suddenly, I'm in a perfect position to do my downstroke. I'm very much a believer that the downstroke actually stems or flows from a proper upstroke, a proper positioning on the up. That's very much in line with the way I learned how to drum. Some of you may know I'm a former drummer, and it's very easy to think of playing an instrument as all downstrokes to make sound, but as a drummer I quickly discovered that if the upstrokes aren't consistent and thoughtful and even, my downstrokes are not going to be great either. So it's something to cultivate over time. Now, there's nothing that we can turn on right now, tonight. I can't just flip the switch for you tonight. It takes diligent practice over time. So it's just a mode of thought that you've got to get used to slipping into when you're playing an instrument. Beer is... Hobart's in the audience. How are you, Hobart? Good. Let's ramp it up, shall we? Steve is relaxed. Awesome. That is what I want. Now, the funny thing is, the faster we get, this is the weird thing about speed, the faster we get, the more relaxed you have to become. So I want you to equate speed with two things: relaxation and lowering your volume. I like to think of speed as something that requires you to change certain parameters in your playing. If I'm going to play fast, I can't play at 11 in terms of volume. I've got to taper down my volume so I can stay relaxed, which is the key to speed. All right. Awesome, guys. We're going to 90 BPM. We're just going to crawl up this little tempo ladder a little bit gradually tonight. Michael's drinking chartreuse. Careful, man. The green fairies will come and get you. It's a great beverage. All right, here we go. This is 90. How many of you feel like this sounds exactly like 80? How many of you out there are like, whoa, that's really fast? Here we go. Look at home for me. Look at home. 90 BPM. Nice and relaxed. Soft. For those of you who have difficulty progressing at this tempo, stay on home the entire time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I love these slower tempos. And really think about my tone. Slow down, Tom. Very easy to play this fast. See if you can get in the zone, like really. Can you bury that click with the downstroke? Margaret, I'm a huge gin and tonic fan. Nice choice. So when I say bury the click, this is a drummer's technique from studio work, where you're playing along in the studio and you're so on the beat that your own sounds mask the click that's being piped into your headphones. And it's sort of have this magical thing that you can try to cultivate in the studio, and you can do it here. It's a studio trick for session musicians. And we should be taking pages from their books, because those dudes are animals. They're amazing. A, 2, 3, 4. Don't rush it. You advanced players, how are your transitions? Are they smooth? Home, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. 82 people out there. That's awesome. Thank you for joining me. This is a tough one. A is deceptively difficult. Go home. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, look ahead to B. Plot your course. Here we go. B, 2, 3, 4. Home, 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy. How's that fifth string sounding tonight? Is it beautiful? Make it beautiful. You advanced players want to be thinking more than just getting through this. The way I like to think about any exercise, any note that I play, how pretty can I make it? How beautiful can I make that tone? Especially at these slow tempos, I should be able to really make it pretty. All right, C, here we go. Look ahead to C. I'll give you a second. Look at C. Here we go. C, 2, 3, 4. Home, 2, 3, 4. Ooh. You know, I usually struggle at these at the beginning of boot camp session. These slower tempos can be really tricky to nail. Gotta say, I don't know what it is tonight, but I'm feeling good. Feeling good. All right, we're gonna play the whole line, doubling each measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. Home. A. A. C. Home again, stay home. Keep going, guys, keep going. The high D's, don't stop. Just stay with me. Get quiet. All right, we're gonna play this entire line, one measure for each section as written on my count. Here we go. Raise it back up to middle volume. That's right, Barry Tom's banjo. Luke's got it right, exactly. Whole line, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. A. B. C. Home. A. B. C. Again, the whole line. One more time. Home. Oh yeah, fade out like they did in the 70s. Fade out. To nothing, to nothing. Keep the pulse strong. Can you do that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 90 BPM, done. All right. Blood should be flowing a little bit. We're gonna jump right up. Yeah, okay, this is a good question. Yes, we're in Sawmill tonight, so you want to change your second string from a B to a C. That puts the entire tuning into what's called Sawmill or G modal tuning. It's a beautiful tuning. Very banjo-y, kind of minor-y, kind of mystical. It's what a lot of us heard when we first wanted to get into the banjo and thought, oh yeah, Clawhammer is the way to go. So that is why that's why you tune up from a B to a C. And this entire week is going to be exploring Sawmill. How's everybody doing it? Hey Andrew, at least you're playing something. And your family probably appreciates you not playing the banjo right now. Luckily at the door to the rest of my house is a steel door, and they can't really hear me. Otherwise, I'd have to get a real job. All right, how's it going out there? How are people feeling? Doug, thank you. Yes. Cold Frosty Morning is amazing. I would say Shady Grove is a wonderful tune. Falls of Richmond is one. Texas is a really good one. I play a tune called Little Pink. Those of you who take private lessons with me know that tune. It's one of the tunes I start with. It's one of my favorite old-time tunes of all time. There's so many great tunes to play in this tuning. Cluck Old Hen can work in this tuning. And here's a challenge for you advanced players. Have you ever tried taking a tune from A or G or C and putting it in a modal tuning? That would be kind of cool. Could be something new. Lots of great tunes for this. I think we can all relate. Yeah, and honestly, if you want a great recommendation for an album that is a lot of it is in Sawmill, Dwight Diller's Just Banjo 99 is so super great. I don't know. I'd like to say this is only a banjo player's thing, but I remember distinctly playing a gig in college. I was drumming, we were playing a show, and I looked over, and through the stage lights, my keyboardist was playing. He was in the groove, and just this big silvery strand of drool just sort of dripped down onto his beautiful Rhodes keyboard. It was a really awesome moment. Oh God. Sorry, I'm tuning so much tonight. It's so humid here in the Northeast. And I was going to change strings today, and I just ran out of time. So they're still cranky. All right, here we go. Awesome suggestions, guys. Margaret's dog went outside. That's funny. Good for your dog. All right, we are at 100. Take a sip of the beverage of your choice. Grab a tortilla chip or something to eat. Shake it out. Yeah, Tony. Yes. Okay. I think this is important. Don't brush. Stay linear. Stay linear. Avoid the temptation. Some of you experienced players are going to want to fall into your old patterns. This is all about establishing new patterns. So resist the urge. I know it's easier for me to say than to just automatically do it, but keep that in mind. All right, 100. Sylvia's poor cat. 100 people. Here we go. Nice and easy. Don't let these tempos freak you out. Just be easy about it. Be soft about it. Here we go. Home. 1, 2, 3, 4. Already, this feels more natural to me. Your cat stories are all amusing me, guys. My cat years ago, who has since gone to the great litter box in the sky, would run in when I played the banjo. No lie. Nice and easy. Alright, I'm going to drop it down because you advanced players out there. I know there are a bunch of you guys out there tonight. Can you do this at 100, this whole section at 100, without impacting the head? Did you hear me? Don't tap the head on the downstroke, and don't thump the head with the thumb. Can you do it, advanced players? That's a little add-on for you. That's something you want to be able to control. All right, here we go. Home. A, 2, 3, 4. Get that low string activated. So as we keep going, you're going to get less and less warning. The training wheels are kind of on tonight. That's cheating, Luke. That's cheating. You could play over the scoop, play over the damn scoop. Okay, here's what we're going to do. A and B, we're going to go between those two. We're going to flex between just A and B, okay? One measure gets one, that's it. Only one measure per time. 1, 2, 3, 4, A. B. A. B. A. Now I'm going to stop calling it out. Do that same thing on B and C. Now, one of the challenges of this is that B and C are mirror images of each other. They're the reverse of each other. So you're going to have to track. You're going to really have to pay attention and track what you're doing, because we're going to flex between B and C. That's part of the game, though. That's training in and of itself. Being able to keep track of where you are, even with patterns that seem the same or seem reverses of each other. It's an incredible tool to be able to use when you're playing a tune, because that enables you, if you can track the melody of the tune in your head, that enables you to create variations and not sort of lose track of where you are in the tune. It's an incredibly important skill for a banjo player, and it's going to come into play as we move the sheet through the week. So B and C back to back. 1, 2, 3, 4, B. C. B. C. Again. So to reiterate a couple things, you advanced players, it would be awesome if you could play through this and give a challenge to yourself. Don't hit the head on the thumb or the downstroke. Yes, that seems like it's baked into the clawhammer world, and for so long, I thought that those sounds were simply the limitation of the style. The limitation of the style, not my own limitations. And then I started recording myself, and all I would hear was that tip-tappy, tip-tappy. It was driving me crazy. So I worked really hard not to have those sounds. I purged them from my playing. It took a lot of time, took a lot of effort to be able to play like me without the tip-tappy, tip-tappy. This isn't to say that those percussive sounds are bad all the time. It's just one element that you want to be able to control as you learn to master the instrument. So you advanced players, a good goal would be to be able to play through this entire sheet without a little tip-tappy, not a single time. Can you do it? Try it. These slow tempos are good to try that out with. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. This is still growing. We crossed the 400 subscriber mark on Banjo Quest just a couple days ago. And I'm really thrilled, but I feel like I am just getting started. I'm just getting started. Lots more to come. Okay. Let's see how everybody did. We've got an interesting question here. The palm hits the fifth string. It really depends. I mean, I don't take anything for granted anymore on the banjo. If I feel like something is not what I want it to be, I change it. I think about it and I change it. I don't take anything for granted, and when I teach privately, when I look at students, I have them think the same way. You don't take anything for granted, and if you look at your playing and it feels like something needs to change, you can change it. It just takes diligent work and focus. Without seeing you, I can't really give you really hardened advice, but I can tell you what I'm doing. My palm does not strike my fifth string. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. I can't tell without seeing you if it's a problem in your stroke or not. That's something you're going to have to assess for yourself. But to me, I only want the parts of my hand that are making sound to contact the strings. That's sort of the efficiency monger in my mind. And for me, efficiency is part of my whole plan for the way I want to play. Because the most efficient stroke yields, in my opinion, the most beauty and the most comfort. Beauty and comfort. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to play beautiful music and have total comfort in doing so? To have it feel like it's not difficult to do so. So that's where that efficiency piece comes in. If I'm contacting those strings with parts of my hand that are not creating noise, I don't know, to me that's some inefficiency baked into the stroke that you're going to need to ferret out a little bit. Again, without seeing you, it's impossible to really say what's going on. Might be fine, but maybe not. I will do one. I'll do one. That's a good. I've been thinking of doing some setup stuff. We'll do one in the future. Thank you. That's a good question. I'm not. Some people tune with drum dials. I do not do that. I never did that with my drum set when I was a drummer. I never use them. I just use my ears, and I feel like they're better. But some people, some pros, also get really good results with drum dials. But I'm by ear kind of approach. Let's see. Oh, Terry rarely hits the head. Never was a factor. Okay. That's a good question. Lisa asks, is the breaking the wrist? I mean, I have a wave pattern to my stroke when I get moving. And I think a lot of beginners have a very sort of a very digital way of thinking. It's in and it's out. And for the players that have been playing a real long time, there's a wave function to the way we move on the instrument where it's pretty fluid. It's a whip motion. I don't know if this helps you, but it's a good thing to think about. All right. Yeah, okay. I heard that you were having injury issues, Clint, and I feel for you. I feel for you. That sucks. Just take it easy, and if you need to bow out, by all means, bow out. But, you know, we want to avoid injury. I do think keeping your, this is why I flagged that comment, I think keeping your neutral positions, avoiding any sort of position on the instrument that does this or that does this, right? Where we're flexing that wrist at extreme angles, those are bad. I see some players who bury the wrist in the banjo like this, and they're always starting from a this kind of a position instead of up, over, neutral. When I'm playing, I can look down and I can see my bridge right under my wrist. Nice, gentle curve. That gentle neutrality is what I would be advocating for any player, and that can help you avoid injury. All right. It is time to enter into the danger zone. Cue some Kenny Loggins. Don't let it scare you. Here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, home. Yeah, Gary, the wave helps. A lot of people, I think it's a good way to think about it. It's very easy in the beginning to think of it as a binary stroke, ones and zeros. But for me, it's analog. It's a wave. Smooth is what I'm getting at by that description. A, 2, 3, 4. Can you make that 4-string nice and full? All right, don't make me laugh. Stop. You shall be playing. B, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. I went early. Sorry. Go C. Home, 2, 3, 4. Are you ready? This is a game where I finish a measure. Right when I'm finishing the measure, I call out the next measure. You understand what I'm about to do? We're going to take off the training wheels. Playing home now, and I'm just at the end of the measure, I'm going to call out a letter or a word, and we're going to go to that measure. Here we go. A. B. C. Home. It's probably really hard to do. I don't know if I could do that if you guys were calling. For me, it's easy because I know what I'm going to call, right? So it's not very kind, but it's fun. I wonder if anybody could hang. All right, the entire line repeating each measure once on my count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. Home. A. A. B. B. C. Again. stay there. All right, entire line as written. Don't change, just each measure on its own. Here we go, all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, home. A, make it beautiful. B, C, home. A, B, C. One more time. Go home and stay there, fade out. Don't let it drop. Keep it going. On my count, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 110. Shake it out, we're gonna hit 120 real quick. How'd you do? Ugh. I don't know what's going on out there tonight. I don't know what's happening. Let me scroll back. There was a good question and I wanted to hit it. Also, what part of the index finger do you hit the string with? I don't use my index finger, though using your index finger is totally fine and good. If that is what comes natural to you, use it. I use my middle finger to hit, and if I look at my hand like this, and I look at my nail and I pretend it's a clock face, I hit at the 10, 11 o'clock position. So the corner of my nail closest to my index finger is the part of the nail I strike with. And I favor the corner of the nail because I feel like I get the most punch and volume, and I actually trim my nail fairly flat to kind of make sure I have defined corners on that nail. Your mileage may vary, but that's how I do it. And there are players who play at the 2 o'clock position, so the corner of the nail closest to the ring finger, and get great results. So it's all about your physiology, your comfort, how you're interacting with the strings, etc. Feel free to experiment, but a lot of people don't even think about where they're striking, what part of the nail they're striking with, and I think it's a really important question you should answer for yourself. Is Robin out there? Whoop, I moved my watermark. Jeez, sensitive. This is a nice thing to think about. It's kind of counterintuitive that you would think that as you climb tempos, things would get difficult. A lot of people equate increase of tempo with increase of difficulty, but what I've discovered in my own playing is that it's not a linear progression. In fact, some of these slower tempos are harder for me, not from a sort of technical perspective, but in terms of a timekeeping perspective. So that's something you should ask about your own playing. Where are your difficulties? I like to think of them as tempo blind spots. There are certain tempos, certain ranges of tempos that for me are harder than others. And I know where they are, and I spend a lot of time working on them to try to make them not so hard. But this can be counterintuitive. Chris is saying that he's more comfortable playing faster. That doesn't surprise me at all. Let's see. Yeah, so Sean is saying the same thing. Better at tempos above 120. Something happens, something takes place when we ramp up that tempo for some people, where there's a band of tempo that gets super easy. And then it gets hard again, right? Thank you, David. Gary Swift, too fast for me, but I'm doing your best. All right, so I want to highlight that because if this is too fast, you can sit at home through the entire week of boot camp and you'll still be getting your work done. This pattern, I said, people don't believe me. People don't believe me, but you gotta believe me. When you play this pattern, you can still get work done. I start every day with this pattern. First of all, because I feel like it's not done. That pattern for me, that stroke is not complete. I'm not 100% happy with it yet. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'm still working on it. The other thing is to remind me what it feels like to pick up the banjo and play its most fundamental building block. It sort of takes me back and puts me in that beginner mindset, which is a wonderful place to be. Take your time, enjoy just these simple patterns. They're so beautiful, they're so lovely. You'll be playing them in every song you ever play. Take your time, and it's okay to just hang out at home through the entire sheet, through the entire week if you have to. All right. Yes, picks can throw you off, and in fact, may put one on. I'm trying to save my nail. That's one of the reasons I wear a pick sometimes, is just because I play so much during a day. I've got to sort of watch out how many hours I'm putting on the nail just to preserve it. So I may be moving to a pick sometime this week just to save the nail. It's tricky. Those of you who are playing with picks, one of the things I advise for pick players is to make sure you lower your volume a little bit. That can give you just a little bit more edge and softness of the hand. That can cause that, if your hand is too stiff and hard, it can, I think with the pick, that the pick wants to stick in the strings more. So soften your hand a little bit. Maybe that could help you. Yep, everybody, the reason why I'm highlighting this, I have lots of people, lots of carpenters, lots of people who work with their hands who take private lessons. A lot of arborists love the banjo, and their hands are like knotted oak tree trunks. And so they do have to take that into account. Think about it. Anybody who works with their hands, it's one of the things I notice about people who work with their hands is they have too much power. You've got to cultivate that softness for those of you who work with your hands. At least that's my experience spending a lot of time with people who use their hands for their living. That's a nice comment. Right. There are more questions, but I want to keep going. I'll answer some in a bit. 120, grab a banjo. 120, here we go. Relax. For those of you who are having trouble at this tempo, watch this. You could go, so I could play at 120. Or I could cut that in half. So those new players out there who think this is fast, check this out. Every click is a sound. I can double that. Or cut it in half. So for those of you who are struggling, that is a really nice sort of fallback position if things get too fast. Now, the way boot camp usually works through the entire sheet at 1 or 2 tempos, this is sort of training wheel session first line, so I'm taking us up through faster tempos earlier than I normally would in the rest of the sessions that'll be happening this week. So this is in some ways a little bit of a false sense of what we're going to be doing all week, but I'm trying to cater to as many people as I can in this public session. All right, here we go. 120. If you need to cut it in half, do it. If you're doing that, make sure your downstrokes and your fifth strings are on clicks. For everybody else, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and home. That's a brighter tempo, right? B, 2, 3, 4. 160. 1, 2, 3, 4, home. A, 2, 3, 4. B, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. Home, 2, 3, 4. Entire line as written. 1, 2, 3, 4. Home. A, B, C. Home, stay there. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 190. Let's go. Real quick. Entire line as written. Who's gonna hang? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. And out. That was 190. That's a taste of what's to come. I hope we can clear 200 by the end of the week, but we'll see. We'll see. Just wanted you guys to hear what that might sound like if we're playing faster and faster. It really kind of transforms. It's really interesting that a pattern like this sounds one way slow, and then different patterns emerge as you play them faster and faster. It's one of the secrets to playing great music. Margaret did it. That's awesome. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. Hey, Robin. Yes. Okay. This is a really great comment. That is often the first thing to fail, is as you're sweeping up through your tempos, the fifth string suddenly starts to disappear. And so you've got to know yourself. You've got to be listening really carefully to when that fifth string starts to fade away. And that is your signal that you're probably just playing a little too fast. Now, oftentimes I'll have a student not back away from those speeds because a certain adaptation starts to emerge when you're playing right up against your limit. So I encourage you guys to explore what are your limits. Write down your limits at the beginning of the week. We just did a variety of different tempos all the way up to 190 BPM. And you should get a sense for what tempos now are more comfortable, what feel like a real stretch, and what tempos feel totally impossible. They will not be impossible forever. I promise you that. And that will give you a nice little map to sort of chart your progress through the next 7 days if you're going to be with me and beyond. Let me just catch up. That's awesome. That is awesome. Steven did it, even though it was ugly. He did it. That's good. That's good. Oh, them fighting words, Gordon. We're going to blaze by the end of the week. Woo, we're going to be blazing. Hey, 190. You stuck with it. That's good. That's really good. Richard, me too. Got through 190 on that line, but when we get down to the last two lines, Richard, where we're dealing with our alternate string pull-offs and the sweep, the 3 into 4, that's when things get a little scary for me as well. Yeah, nice. I agree with that. I agree with that. But here's a little thing that I learned. I was in a lesson today. We talked about it. I was watching Nashville session musicians talk about how they can play at the speeds they can. And one guy says that you've got to make sure that you spend time practicing fast. And that's because of this funny little truth about playing an instrument, that playing fast is not simply playing slow sped up. I'll say that again. Playing fast is not simply playing slow sped up. Your techniques actually change as you get faster. I know this from drumming. When I was trying to get my rudiments up, especially the paradiddle, it was really brutal because I was tracking every single little note in the paradiddle until my teacher taught me you got to let those notes go and focus on the big accented notes. And once I figured that out and got that in my hand and let the other notes sort of bounce and trickle out on their own, my speed cap automatically increased. And my mechanics actually physically changed as I swept up through my tempos. It's something really interesting to think about as you're exploring these fundamentals this week. Okay, we've got to close it down. I'm going to take a quick run through the comments. Get your comment in now. I'm going to quickly breeze through them, and then I'm going to go have some supper. I'm starving. Let's see. Sylvia's playing at 190. That's awesome. Very welcome. This is one of my favorite things to do. I look forward to this. I'm doing this every quarter now, so we'll be doing another one in the fall. And actually, my session for the Midsummer Online Banjo Festival, I'm going to be running a boot camp of sorts. It's going to be different than any other boot camps I've done in terms of the content, but it's going to be really fun. I'm excited about it. I've been playing banjo since 1999. I've been playing drums. Oh gosh, I played drums starting in middle school and played them through college, and then worked as a drummer here in the Boston area. They were too loud, and I just like quieter acoustic music, and it's lighter, and the banjo just deeply resonates with me because I can do pitches. And with drums, it's not so pitch. It's just sort of all rhythm, and I like having the pitch palette to play with. So I don't know, so many reasons. Banjo's the best instrument in the world. That's another reason. I don't know. Lots of reasons. Thanks for asking, though. But I still bring a lot of my drumming background in because I think that drummers know how to play rhythm the best. And for me, it all comes down to rhythm. Rhythm is 90% of what I want to do on the instrument in terms of being really solid on my timing, really sort of like granite-like reliability in terms of groove, all that stuff. So I still pull from that background daily. How do you sign up? You go to, can somebody throw a link up there for Patreon? I'm going to try to do that. Patreon is awesome. I'm so happy that you want to join. It is a wonderful thing for independent musicians like me who do this. This is my day job, if you can believe it. I play the banjo for my day job, and the Patreon has been a game changer for me. So I'm really psyched that people are interested, and I work very hard for it, as many of you guys know. That's it. Is there a way to... Yeah. We'll put that there for now. Copy that into your browser, or just do a Google search for Patreon Tom Collins, and my Banjo Quest thing will come up, and you'll be able to join us all week, Margaret, which would be really cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. What time is tomorrow's boot camp? I should probably know, huh? It is tomorrow at 5 p.m. So I just want to say, I know we're all over the world, lots of different time zones. These will remain online as an archive, so you don't feel like you need to make every single one of the sessions this week live. you can just go back and peruse them at your leisure. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Yes, good to as a musician, good to have diverse revenue streams. Indeed, especially these days where things have radically changed for us musicians. All right, guys, thank you so much. Yes, I hope to see many of you over on Patreon. It is really an amazing platform, and I only put a fraction of my content on YouTube. The rest is all on Patreon. Lots of extra videos, tablature, etc. That's where you can get the tab, Margaret. Okay, see you guys later. I'm signing off.